Hey, Lou.
Patsy, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Uh, I'm just glad you're not wearing your Under Armour hoodie again because we wouldn't have matched again.
Do you believe I was in LaGrange, Ohio today, Cleveland, and North Olmsted?
You were a little busy. Would you go up to the office?
I had to go to a job site, so I went off, and they're moving the warehouse and office starting in a couple weeks. And so I went over to check the new one out and to see what that looked like, and then went to a big lumber yard up in Cleveland. It's a customer. While I was there, and I it's okay walking in there just because the building's so big,
Right.
and the
Yeah.
owner makes sure all his guys are wearing masks. So it's not a bad deal.
For something that big too, especially like in a
Master
warehouse.
Grant, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Lou. How are you? Hi,
Good.
hi, Master Patsy.
Master Grant, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. Doing
Good.
well.
Good. I'm glad
So
you
it
joined me
was,
today.
it's nice to get out to see customers a little bit because sometimes they show you some new information coming.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
what's happening this year. Just as what's going on. So
So you had a productive trip.
yeah, pretty good. Yeah, a
Not too
little
bad.
quick 250-mile round trip today.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Kind of wish you had your old boss in the car with you, huh?
Yeah, it would have made it seem like 750. Master Grant would have liked to have a seat with him at dinner some night.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. No, you would not have. No. He just would have sat there and just kept saying, "Oh my God." Oh
He
yeah,
was
there's no way.
dry to listen to, wasn't he?
I'm sorry.
He was very dry when you think about it to
It was
listen
very
to.
dry. Yeah. Um, but I couldn't be in a room with him for more than a couple minutes before I. Well, you saw. I had to bail. Um, before we but before we get moving, well, as we're getting moving, Lou, you and I were on last night as a lot of the events of the coup attempt were petering out. Uh, Master Grant, you and I had texted a couple times over the course of the night, but we never really had a chance to talk. I'm curious to your feelings. Now that you had a chance to kind of regurgitate it for a day. Um, what are your thoughts? What's going through your head?
So are we live?
Yes.
We are. Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. so so shock, appalled, just appalled. I guess that's my that and I got sick to my stomach when I saw Trump's video. Um, the him saying we love you. Yeah, we won in a landslide. The election was stolen, but go home. It's just, it's like, what's wrong with him? I mean, is he mentally ill? Um, it just doesn't sound like the words of a sane person, really. Not to. So I don't know. I wonder if there's something going on with him mentally. It sure does seem like it.
His his mental capacity has always been in question, right? You don't get that cognitive test that he was so proud that he passed. Uh, unless you have some or somebody brings up a question about your mental state. You just don't randomly start throwing that test at people, right? Um, there's been a lot of over the last 4 years about his mental capacity, and it's obviously not very good. Lou and I have commented a few times that it's very possible, whenever you look at how he walks and his inability to simply drink a glass of water, that it's very possible this guy had a stroke during his time in office. And I the more I see him and the more I hear him talk, and the more I'm convinced that. Remember, there was it a couple years ago? There was that midnight John over to Walter Reed that no one explained. I'm
Yes,
wondering,
I do.
2 years ago.
I'm wondering if he didn't have a stroke then. It would as we like to say, it would
Explain some.
it would explain a lot of things.
Yeah, it would.
You know, because I had an aunt that had a stroke years ago, and it changed her personality. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, just it makes you wonder. My daughter said to me today when she called. Now her husband's a Trump supporter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've been trying.
I know, Lou. I know.
We know how that's like.
Uh-huh.
But he actually said, he told her, he says, I support Trump, but this guy actually believes that the election was rigged. He won and can't believe it. Now, he doesn't say it was rigged. My son-in-law, he said he just got his ass kicked. But he says he believes Trump, just from looking at him, really believes that he won. And he says nobody's telling him he has.
Well, he doesn't have anybody around him to tell him anything he doesn't want to hear.
And that's just it.
Master Grant?
Yeah, he doesn't listen. He doesn't listen. And he's living in an alternate reality. He's created an alternate reality for himself and for his followers. Those people who went there, who believed that they were doing their patriotic duty, that the election was stolen, that they believe it. They believe the nonsense, the falsities that are being that are being disseminated and consumed by these people. And so they went there fully believing that they were patriots, and then fully believing that what they were doing was right, because they believed that somehow, and they call them the Democrats, the Demoncrats, had stolen this election. I mean, there's an idiot down the road here that has a big sign in his yard that says the Democrats do what they do best: voter fraud, for everybody to see every day you drive by. They believe it. And then when the commander in chief is echoing, supporting, reiterating, doubling down, we won by a landslide. We love you, so don't give up. That's now these people don't know what to believe. So when you get your senators, even like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, I mean, people that were in bed with the president, when you get them stating that, okay, look, the election's over, Biden won, there is no fraud, people then go, what do you say about that, Mr. President? And the president goes, there was voter fraud. They're all in cahoots. Then they believe it. So I'm not now. There's a line that you can't cross, and so those people went down. And I know some people here, they truly believed that yesterday that Pence was going to overturn the election or delay it. They believed an angel was going to come down and illuminate everything, that all the fraud and everything, and and God's hand was going to be part of this. They truly believed that. That's what they think was going to happen. And so when you go and you're standing there and you're waiting for some miracle to happen, and then Pence goes, "I'm not doing it. I'm not. This is not right. I can't do it." And there is no, uh, godsend. Then what happens? People start to get angry and upset, and that's the point. That point, you need to make a decision. If you're down there as a Trump supporter, it's wrong. It's wrong. So, are you going to break the law, or are you going to not? And for those who did, they should all be prosecuted. Every single one of them.
But does that include the people who contributed to this nonsense? Do you include the Ted Cruz's of the group?
Those guys are the ones who should be thrown in jail first, because they're the instigators. They're the rabble rousers. They're the ones who are leading the sheep. And as much as those Trump supporters don't want to hear this, they are sheep, blind, and they're being led to do things that they shouldn't be doing. So yes,
Lou, after all of this happened, 6 senators still went through with their objections. 6 of them.
Did you listen? Did you stay up and listen to some of the speeches?
No.
I made it. We made it till about 10, and I turned it off.
Yeah, I bet.
'Cause I was telling my wife, she says, "I've never heard this before." I said, "Because it's usually over in 15 minutes, and they go to lunch."
Yep. Yeah, it's ceremonial at best, right?
This is because of these idiots. But I did, when Hawley come on, I wanted to throw something at the TV.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't.
He started
I didn't
right
see
in on Pennsylvania, and and it's just like, and a lot of those that they were allowed 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was. And there was a number of them that turned around and looked right at Ted Cruz and pretty much told him to F off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. So Lou, I was watching too.
And a lot of Ben Sass and, even some Republicans, well, of course, Sass has been all along saying it's a Trump, it wasn't rigged, but, and then it went to the House side. I watched the House side for a while too. They did show some of the House. But the only reason that I would have never made it that long, but all the way to Connor Land, Pennsylvania, where there was almost a physical confrontation.
That's what I heard. Yeah. Mr. Grant, are these folks traitors?
Yes, absolutely. This is treasonous. Yeah, it's nothing short of what happened in the Civil War. And Ted Cruz invoking 1877, that is going back to apartheid. Legal segregation. The majority. How many black people did you count in that mob?
Yeah,
3, 4.
The ones over there stuck out like a sore thumb.
It was all white, and all those people were, in some ways, if not members of a white supremacist group, were certainly white, racist. And so this is what this whole front. Let's just put everything on the table, and this whole election being rigged is about the black vote. So that's when Ted Cruz says that there's fraudulent. That's what he's talking about. And so I think we need to face that and confront it. And the Republican Party is doing a horrible job. They're doing a great job for white supremacists. They're doing a horrible job for this country.
They all should be prosecuted because, it's just like having a young kid. If you don't discipline him, he keeps pushing the envelope to see what he can get away with. The clown that sat in Pelosi's desk, why wasn't he picked up already and arrested?
I don't know that he wasn't. I want to say there have been about 80 arrests. If
I mean,
it very well could have been. He could have been one of them. I don't know.
do you think, they're saying, well, we need help identifying. All they got to do is get phone records. How close can they ping that phone where you were yesterday?
So every single one of those people started streaming when they went in, and all you have to do is go to their stream account and find them.
It's not hard.
I heard somewhere on Twitter that Twitter's already identified 90% of those other people. So the FBI just needs to start utilizing the social media sources and being a little bit more smarter. Yeah, but that guy who sat in Pelosi's office, he should be thrown in jail, no bail.
Yep. Yeah.
One clown in fur, I just saw now that he's the son of a judge in Brooklyn.
Yeah. If you're caught selling secrets to a foreign country like Russia, China, they will put you in jail, a military jail, and you're in there 15, 20, 25 years. And that's exactly what should happen to those people. They should be thrown into military prisons. He should be thrown away, and we'll see these guys in 25 years.
And another thing I saw this morning, I never thought about it, is was it General McCaffrey on early this morning with Morning Joe? Basically said, he says, if you don't think because they knew it was going to happen, he says, everybody knew this was going to happen, that there weren't Russian plants inside there that's got some information, he says, you're fooling yourself.
No, they went into Pelosi's office. Nothing was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. There was just papers and shit everywhere. Everywhere. Scarborough.
There was just a congresswoman on, Nicole, and she said, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Capitol. She said, but to find Speaker Pelosi, if you don't know where it is a chore. She seemed to have found it very quickly yesterday.
Good point. Good point.
I have a clip I'm going to show. Apparently Scarborough kind of lost his shit today, didn't he?
Oh, I was listening when he said it. We just started busting up laughing.
I missed it.
Well, you're going to hear it now.
Okay.
You're going to hear it now. I was surprised. I'll be honest. I was surprised. Okay. It's only 3 minutes, 20 seconds. It's not very long, but there's a bomb or two in there. So here we go. Here we go.
Who had scrawled on the door, murder the media? Who had broken through this glass? Letting them just walk through, letting these Trump supporters walk through freely and politely opening doors to the insurrectionists. And then letting the terrorists walk out of the same Capitol they had laid siege to and threatened the lives of members of the House and members of the Senate who they said they were coming to get, including Mike Pence. There has to be an investigation. How many of these Capitol Hill cops are members of Donald Trump's cult? How many?
It is a cult.
How many allowed this to happen? And I do want to know, where the hell were the DC police? Where the hell how did this happen? This hasn't happened since the War of 1812, when the British stormed Washington, D.C. It's obvious this was coming. Donald Trump promised this day was coming. He and his golf caddy, Dan Scavino, were putting out videos saying it was going to be wild. January 6th was going to be wild. We were warned that January 6th was going to be a dangerous day, not just in social media, not just in the media, but in our lives. People would come up to me and ask, what do you think is going to happen on January the 6th? Well, what happened was the Capitol Hill police weren't ready. The DC police weren't ready. The National Guard wasn't ready. Nobody was ready.
Or was it okay because they are white? I just have to ask.
Oh my God. Oh, please. Please.
Because
please. No,
I don't think this would have happened with Black Lives Matters protesters.
Let me tell you something. We don't have to even go there. If these insurrectionists were black, they would have been shot in the face. And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim, they would have been sniped from the top of buildings. So I want to know from the Capitol Hill police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as badasses around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house. What is wrong with you? I also want to know, are we a nation of laws? Are we a nation of one man? Donald J. Trump called for the insurrection against the United States of America.
Joe got a little pissed this morning.
Well, it's easy to say, it's easy to understand, and he was dead on with everything. I do want to say I do have to make one comment though about the logistical support. So the DC police were spread out all over the Capitol. And I know this because my brother works there. And he said that all DC workers were told to stay home, and they had everything was blocked. You couldn't get into town. So I think there was a miscalculation in logistics, that they spread themselves too thin. Now, that's just a logistical comment. They were, like he said, they were warned about this, and they should have known, right? And it's okay to block all the access into town, but then you knew that these guys were going to be coming onto the Capitol. Where was everyone? Where was all the defense? That's a question.
And a good question at that. Okay. New York Times actually goes through, and it's a great read. It's a very quick read. Again, this has been circulating for months. Okay. On Wednesday, their online activism became real world violence, yada, 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 yada. On Gab, they documented going into the House or the offices of the members of Congress, including that of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. This was on Gab, right? So everybody knew it was there. At 2:24, Trump tweeted that Pence, quote, didn't have the courage to do what should have been done. Dozens of messages again on Gab call for those inside the Capitol building to hunt down the vice president. Okay. They kind of wrap this up as Facebook and Twitter began to crack down on groups like QAnon and Proud Boys over the summer. They slowly migrated to other sites, such as Gab and what was the other one? Parler, right? It didn't take a genius, because let's be perfectly honest. These guys ain't the sharpest bulbs in the drawer, right? They're not the brightest of the bright. If they did, they wouldn't be organizing shit on social media. Okay, it's call me crazy, but if I'm going to try to organize a coup, I'm not going to do it over Facebook, unless I want to get caught, right? I mean, I'm going with some heavily encrypted everything in the world. I'll have Master Grant write some code for me, and we'll go from there. Well, of course, we'd have to use Android phones, but But in any case, it goes back to what we said earlier. You know who these folks are. They're telling you who they are. They're posting it all over social media. It's not hard to find them. It's not hard. These idiots they can't help but advertise who they are, where they are, what they're doing. The woman that got shot in the chest trying to go through a window. You look at her Twitter page. If you didn't know she was going to be there and there was going to be a riot, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. You're being willfully ignorant. Okay, so these folks are advertising what they're going to do, and then they were advertising while they were doing it. How do you not? You knew as soon as he lost, right? As soon as Trump lost, all the MAGA idiots were like, "Well, we're off of Facebook. We're all going to, we're all moving over to Parler," right? I mean, we even had a Instagram post about it for the channel, right? We knew, right? We're a couple of knuckleheads from Western PA. We knew. Nobody's this incompetent. I'm actually wondering how many people who are capable or in a position to make decisions were a part of this or a willing participant in this. Lou, you posted, we showed it yesterday that the officers opening the gates for them.
Yeah. They showed that on Morning Joe first thing this morning. I think that's what got him going when they brought that film up.
He lost his shit.
Yeah. So the question then, okay, so let's go back to the police and the logistics of mobilizing the police. So somebody was competent enough to lock down the city and move the police force around to guard entry into the city. So somebody was competent enough to do that, but they weren't competent enough to secure the Capitol.
Well,
so,
would have been different forces too.
Yeah, so it does beg the question, and I believe in my mind that there were people who were in positions of authority that are culpable, that manipulated or didn't do things in order to allow this to happen because they're supporters themselves.
Sure. And, let's face it, it doesn't even have to be somebody in a position of authority. It just has to be somebody at the gate, somebody at the door.
Yep, exactly.
Right? I can't tell you how many people I let in the door in my day. Right? I was like, no, I know him. He's in.
Yeah.
Look, what's to stop them? All you need is a couple. And once it's breached, once you got a few folks on the inside, then they open all the other doors. And if they can't open the doors, they'll break the windows. Right? Then they'll get shot in the chest. The investigation into that part of this thing is going to take forever. Right? It's going to take forever. First of all, these guys aren't going to talk. Even the ones that didn't do anything, they're not going to say anything about a fellow officer. There's no way in hell they're going to. Right? You'll see God first. I don't care what the crime is. I don't care what happened. You're never going to see them say anything about another officer. It's just not going to happen. This investigation is going to take forever. That part of it. I'm almost willing to ignore that for now and focus on the folks who are sitting in a seat in our Capitol right now, passing laws that are traitors and should be removed and jailed. First of all, you can start with 7 senators. There's 7 senators right off the bat you can start with. There's about 100 representatives you can go to next. Because, start small, build your way up. And then go. Why is Rudy Giuliani not in jail right fucking now? He called for a trial by combat an hour before they rushed the Capitol building.
Yeah, is it
Why is he not in jail now?
and why is the president still a sitting president? Why have they not invoked the amendment, the 25th Amendment? Why? Come on, Mitch McConnell.
Well, McConnell, I don't think McConnell can.
McConnell can't. How many actual cabinet members are left? Elaine Chao resigned today. It wouldn't be sitting or temporary because it's up to them and the vice president to do it.
We have, as of, I'll say 9:45 this morning, our time, the list of resignations have been Stephanie Grisham, Sarah Matthews, Mick Mulvaney, that piece of shit, Anna Christina Nicata Lloyd, John Costello, Matt Prodinger, Ryan Tully, and Elaine Chao. Now, there may have been others since then. Like I said, that was as of this morning. So we're talking, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. As of we'll say 10 o'clock this morning.
Because I think that there have been, I did see where one of the, is it Omar that's drawing up articles of impeachment right now?
Yep. She was doing it last night.
Yeah. Because I believe Schumer and Pelosi both called McConnell on it, and they actually called the vice president, but I heard he didn't answer earlier. Because what part? How much is it? The majority of the cabinet?
It has to be a majority of the cabinet,
plus the vice president.
Plus the vice president. And here's where the fun's going to be. As I'm changing my backgrounds. See you, Master Grant. Boy, he got out of here in a big hurry, didn't he? Oh, okay, there we go. That's better. What, you just decide to leave us and then come back and then, just keep us all guessing, I suppose, huh? You should see what he's like on the floor. He does that shit on the floor too. You're going to have you're going to need a majority of the cabinet plus Pence. And here, this is where I wish Frank was here tonight. He's covering soccer practice, by the way. One of the coaches got COVID. It would have to almost be a secret signing of this declaration the 25th, because if you're the secretary of whatever, transportation, I forgot who, I can't even tell you who the hell it is, but you're the secretary of transportation, or you're Betsy DeVoe, the secretary of, let's do that way we can put a name to it, right? So you're the education secretary, you're Betsy DeVoe, or DeVos, I'm sorry, and you sign this sheet, you sign this piece of paper or this declaration or whatever the hell it's called, and then he fires you.
Yeah.
Now what? Right? So if Pence is going to do this, he has to do it in secret, right? He has to be all secret squirrel about this and get all these names and all these everything and get it submitted to whoever the hell he has to submit it to. I would guess the House wouldn't. I mean, it sounds like it should be the House, and then they do something with it, then it would go over to the Senate, would be my guess. So he would somehow have to get it over to Pelosi without anybody knowing about it, even the people who signed it or witness signatures or God knows what. That's a pretty tall order. And I even if it could be done, I don't think Pence has the character to do it. I really don't.
No, he doesn't. He unfortunately is missing his. This is his opportunity. It really is for him to step up and shine. If he's thinking about a long-term political career, him standing up at this point in time and saying, "Look, I need to be president for the last 2 weeks," and doing whatever it takes to make that happen. That would show great signs of leadership and strength. He is unfortunately, for the rest of his life, is going to be the man who betrayed Trump. That's what his Trump supporters are going to label him. He was the one who was supposed to, save the election for Trump or turn the election to Trump, and he didn't. And yeah, it's just he's missing it, and he's going to cower like Mitch McConnell is, and all those other guys. Because to be honest, they are scared to death of this faction, this Trump faction. Did you see that? Did you see that video of Mitt Romney being accosted at the airport?
Yep.
Accosted.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, here you go. It's not really going to matter. Here we go. Okay. According to Business Insider, Pence opposes the 25th Amendment efforts to remove Trump following a Capitol riot. Okay. So that's dead and buried. There you go.
So no 25th. So it's going to be impeachment, or we got 2 weeks of craziness.
We got 13 days to impeach him.
Is Schumer the official majority leader yet, or do they have to wait for those two to be certified?
Not till the 20th. Right? Not until they're in.
Yeah, that's true. It would be the 20th.
So, yes, we got 13 days of anything can happen.
I'm a little concerned with this guy having 13 days left.
Yeah. Coups normally fail on the first go round, and they usually succeed on the second. So if they try this again, they've got a good chance of actually succeeding.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We touched on social media, right? With 2 weeks left in office, this is I'm coming from Axios here. Trump has lost access to Twitch and Snapchat. They disabled his accounts. Shopify, I didn't even know he had an account there, took down 2 online stores affiliated with him. Facebook/Instagram banned him for at least the next 2 weeks. Twitter froze his account Wednesday before reinstating it on Thursday. What a absolute piece of garbage Twitter is. TikTok is redirecting hashtags like Storm the Capitol and Patriot Party to its community guidelines to reduce discoverability, as it also removes content. YouTube says it's accelerating its enforcement of voter fraud claims against Trump and others. Reddit says it's taking action on reported violations of its content policies, which prohibit the incitement of violence. That is their policies, right? That being said, I do not understand. I get that because this is a world leader, that these social media companies want to allow exposure to what they're saying, is because it's an official document, believe it or not, right? It's an official document of the leader of a country, not just U.S., but any of them. Everything Justin Trudeau puts up is official. But propaganda should not be held to the same standard as an official statement, right? Or official whatever. Because even whenever a president goes to give the State of the Union, there is an obligatory almost response from the opposition party, which is carried right after the State of the Union. Right, the State of the Union is an official action that the president takes. It's part of the Constitution. He has to do this. He doesn't have a choice. And then there is a rebuttal from the opposition party, which is not necessary. It's not a constitutional duty, but it's still done. When you're on social media, you don't get that, right? If Trump would tweet out, shoot every dog you see. I just made that up, but shoot every dog you see. By the time the social media company gets around to taking it down or doing whatever, how many thousands of people saw it?
Yeah, the damage is done.
Damage is done. So you're well, let me ask you this. What are the options now? If you have all the options in the world for a social media company, what do you do about somebody who is in a privileged position, which a leader is? What are your options as far as how do you address this? What do you do with it? How do you handle it?
So, okay. So what would we do if Saddam Hussein was still alive and he was on Twitter and Facebook and just ranting and raving about how bad the U.S. is? What would we do in that circumstance? You would ban him, right? Because he's a nut, and he's a world leader, but he's a nut, and he's inflaming, and so I think you apply the same. If you would do it to Saddam Hussein or Kim Jong Un, you do the same thing to Trump.
Lou?
Well, it should have been done like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But they won't because of the following. And, like we talked about, they migrated Parler, and Parler's like, oh man, this is great for them because all of a sudden they got all these thousands and hundreds of thousands. All of a sudden their ad revenue's worth something.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the revenue.
And they took advantage of it, and it was organized that way. I went on TikTok briefly just to see what the hell's going on with the right wing there, and my God, it's Antifa, it's liberals protest, and that woman was murdered, and it was like, my God, I mean, she violated her oath to the Constitution, and she was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Intentionally.
And doing the wrong thing at the wrong time in the wrong. Yeah.
Okay,
Nobody condones somebody dying, but you also have to be aware of your situation and your surroundings and what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, a veteran would know. You just don't decide to go storming the Capitol building. I mean, you're pretty much a veteran because you took an oath to not allow people to do stuff like that.
Did you happen to see that? I mean, she has about 1 million views now. Somebody took they took a stream of. Have you seen Elizabeth from Knoxville on Twitter?
No. Should I?
Yeah. You got to look it up just for you sit there and think, okay, the mentality of this. She was whining to one of the news medias or whatever, and they said, who are you? I'm Elizabeth from Knoxville. And she's crying. They said, well, what's going on? Well, I was maced as I walked through the Capitol door. And they said, well, it was illegal what you did. But I was there for the revolution, and they wouldn't let me in.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you got to listen to this to think, or do they even have a clue?
That's
When you listen to her talk, you're like, she's clueless, or is she stupid, or how many of them that went in thought it was a joke?
they're just brainwashed. They're brainwashed sheep.
I mean,
Listen.
when I watched that, I'm thinking this is a setup, and then the more you watch, you're like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, listen to the lady who accosted Mitt Romney, and listen to what she says. It's the same old rhetoric. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same vitriol. Yeah, they're being fed this propaganda, these lies, and they're being fed over and over and over. So now that they are able to regurgitate it almost word for word from what they heard.
Yeah, in that vein, I was listening to Rover this morning, Patsy, going up to Cleveland.
I love Rover.
So he takes a call from somebody in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And this guy's ranting and raving at Rover. He says, you hate Trump, this and that. And Rover's like, I'm like most Americans. I'm in the middle of the road. I support both as long as they're not idiots like Trump. Which he does if you listen to him all the time. So this guy's going, well, so Rover asked this guy flat out, and I was waiting to hear the answer, which Rover says, do you see any problem? He says, I preached against the Black Lives Matter protest. I support what they were doing. I'm against looting and vandalism and
what happened to you?
In danger. And he asked this guy, he says, why? He says, okay. He says, did you support what happened yesterday? He says, I did. He said, that's what needed to be done. He says, so in other words, you would have supported the Black Lives Matter protesters for doing the same thing and running over the Capitol for themselves to get things done. Well, no, I wouldn't support them. Why is that? Well, that's different. He says, so he's trying to push him to come flat out and say, why is it different? And he says, because they're black? Oh, no. And finally, the guy just hung up. And Grover basically proved the point right there.
Yeah.
Here's here's Elizabeth from Knoxville.
Ma'am, what happened to you?
I got nazed. I got nazed. I got nazed. I got nazed.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made like a foot inside. They pushed me out and they paced me. And they paced me. They paced me. They paced me. They paced me. My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm from Knoxville in the capital. It's a revolution. Knoxville, Tennessee. My name is Elizabeth. We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution. Storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
That boyfriend's so proud. Did you see his face? I just want to go home.
I know someone played with that tape, but if you listen to that in real time, after you watch it twice, because it isn't that fast, you're like, she's clueless.
Clueless. Absolutely clueless.
Cult. It's the cult.
It's a cult. Yeah.
If they would have had Kool-Aid on the way down the steps, they would have drank it.
You'd have bodies all over it, all over the place. Yeah, and they'd have done it willingly. Yeah, that's the part that kills me. No pun intended. They'd have done it willingly. I mean, these shitheads are going to go to jail. They're going to have records now for the rest of their lives. They're going to basically they especially some of these younger knuckleheads, I mean, these are going to be federal charges. These are going to be felonies.
Christ, I'd rather have a
Look at
robbery
that.
charge hanging over my head than a treason. I don't know about you.
Yeah. So
Why isn't Junior in jail?
Yeah, there was a nice picture of him on Twitter with the guy that was still on the podium. Did you see that?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Some
He doesn't even have a title, as far as I know. Does he even have a job in the White House? Does he do anything? No, there's nothing.
No.
Why is he not arrested right now?
Yeah, him and Rudy both. They were egging him on yesterday.
Yep.
Rudy needs to go to jail. Well, Rudy needed to go to jail 2 years ago. Okay, I mean he's been skirting on borrowed time for 24 months now. I mean, America's mayor, huh?
Well, this is kind of segueing, but what do you think Merrick Garland's going to do? Trying to clean up the department. Do you think he's going to act on any of this?
I think whether he wants to or not, I think he's going to find himself in a situation where he really doesn't have a choice but to address it. You cannot. Let me give you the other side of it, right? What happens if nothing is done? They don't go after Trump. They don't go after Rudy. They don't press any charges against anybody. And forget the fact that, you know, the New York DA is going to jump on his shit on the 21st. Okay, ignore that, because that's a state thing. We're talking about federal. How are you not inviting the next Trump to do the same shit if you don't punish these people?
I look at it, my point of view, the rich get away with everything, and then if I'm a black person, I'm looking at white privilege.
Well, the white privilege was the fact that these guys, as Scarborough said, these guys weren't shot in the face.
Exactly.
Right.
They
That's
weren't
the
shot
only.
to begin with. Then they're going to face no repercussions.
How are these Congress people? You know, you have to punish them.
I think there might have been a bill written, from what I understand today, doing something with those that went against it by a Democratic person, but I didn't catch the whole story.
If there's
well,
not,
I hope our congressman gets arrested. Wouldn't that be nice?
You know what? If there was ever a time to run against that asshole, it's now. You know, I can't stand him to begin with. Lou, honest to God, if you'd have seen his fundraisers up in the rich part of town, and seen how he behaved then, whenever he was surrounded by people who were there literally to give him money, what he's doing now shouldn't surprise you. All right? He's garbage. He is. And the owners of the places where he was having these rallies should, if I said who they were, and you know who they are. Garbage doesn't go too far away from garbage.
No, exactly. I could see why it was where it was.
Yeah. According to the Times, I really don't understand the timing behind this story. Trump has suggested to his aides that he wants to pardon himself in the final days of his presidency, according to two people with knowledge of the discussions, a move that would mark one of the most extraordinary and untested uses of political or presidential power in American history. Here we go again. I'm surprised the word unprecedented wasn't in here. In several conversations since Election Day, Trump has told advisors he's considering giving himself a pardon, and in other instances asked whether he should and what the effect would be on him legally and politically, according to the two people. It is not clear whether he had broached the topic since he incited his supporters on Wednesday. But he is showing signals that his interest of pardoning himself goes beyond idle musings. I never thought I'd actually read the words idle musings. He has long maintained he has the power to pardon himself, yada, yada, yada. It goes into a history about all of this. Does anybody think somebody should tell him that in order to receive a pardon, there is an inherited admission of guilt? Because you can't be pardoned for something that never happened, right? So in order to be pardoned, there has to be an admission of guilt, either formally or just by the fact that you're getting the pardon, right? Or inherited. You have to be guilty of something to be pardoned of it. So I don't know. And if you are pardoned, you have now admitted to guilt of something. Does that now disqualify you from running for president again? Or any office for that matter?
Good questions. Good legal questions. Wish we had our legal person here.
Yeah, I'm going to give him hell about that.
Wish we had our lawyer.
Anybody know a lawyer?
I wonder, just what you're saying, I wonder if Trump isn't holding over Pence's head a pardon and making Pence, not do things like not do the 25th Amendment, because he's got that pardon that he's holding over, saying, Pence, look, on the 20th or the 19th, I'm going to give you this pardon. And because we don't know, maybe Pence is up for something really bad. I don't know. It's just a thought that kind of hit me when
the idea of him holding things over people's heads is literally what he did with Manafort, with who's the other asshole, the Nixon lover,
Stone.
Roger Stone, right? He held pardons over their heads. That's why the Mueller investigation dead ended with those guys, right? I mean, it was the best mobbiest shit you ever saw in your life, right? Well,
then let's not be surprised when Pence is given a pardon, and that'll explain a lot. I also think I started thinking of was Hillary should just come on TV right now and just say,
"Told you,
hey guys." I don't want to be I told you so, but
I don't want to sound like an asshole right now, but I told you so.
Good heavens.
Wow. I don't know if I was her. I would be like every day for the last 4 years, I would just be getting more and more, just my level of pissed off would just rise just a little bit more every day. You assholes still chose this over me.
Not looking so bad now, am I?
I know Bush is doing that, right? And you guys thought I was first.
Bush is like, hallelujah. I'm moving up in the popularity.
Right? Trump was the best thing that ever happened to this guy.
Not the worst president ever. Yay.
Totally crashed the economy, 2 wars, and he's not the worst.
Yeah, own private war, and uh, well, on the bright side, we've got the House. The Senate has been switched. We got the two new Democratic senators coming in from Georgia, so I'm going to become a Georgia Bulldog fan now.
Really?
And
There's no way
uh,
there's no way you're going to do that.
no, I'm not going to do that. But still, it's just like Georgia. Georgia came through. So
Georgia came through. You know the worst thing that happened to the Republican Party? They screwed what's her name out of the election. Stacey Abrams. They screwed her out of her election because she's been on the tear ever since. You want to give somebody credit for Georgia flipping? There's where you give the credit. What she did in the last few years is epic. It really is.
Well, yeah.
They need to throw what's his name, Perez, out and put her in his spot.
You know what? A lot of talk about that. A lot of people are talking about making her the chair of the DNC, Master Grant.
That'd be great. Love it.
I didn't think Perez was all that bad either. I just think she's that much better.
Yeah. And just to do some prophesizing, I believe that the Republican Party has been tilting on being divided. Started with the Tea Party group, and now we've got the Trumpsters, who are kind of a Tea Party mix. And I really believe that if Trump does not go to jail, he will fracture the party in half, and he will take his party, he will take his cult and create their own, and he'll be able to do what Ross Perot never was able to do, which is create a legitimate third party.
Well, that was always my question. Is the MAGA cult going to leave the Republican Party and create their own party, or are the traditional George Will Republicans going to leave and form their own and leave the existing party to the MAGAs?
I think one or the other.
Which way is it going to go? But they're in trouble. They're in big trouble. As a party, they have a lot of, and let's face it, they only have less than 2 years to fix this thing, because you have a midterm coming up, right? You'll have a midterm in 2 years, so they got less than 2 years to get their shit in order to put some sort of candidates. Because how many senators, Lou, are up in 2 years?
There's a lot of Republican senators up in 2 years, big time.
I want to say there's like 15 or something like that.
Of course, there's 33, but there was I was going to say 22 Republicans.
Wow.
Okay, maybe. I was thinking
there's 34.
Wow.
There's 34 senators and 22. 13 are Democrats, 21 are Republicans.
Okay. Well, there you go. I was thinking 15, but whatever. So they're going to have some problems, because they're going to want to take the Democrat seats, which is going to be really hard to do. If the Dems do anything positive, right? Now that you have Congress and the presidency, you got two branches of government. If they do anything positive, it's going to be really hard to flip the Democrat. And at the same time, because you have such a party that's in such disarray, how are you going to protect your seats?
I'm looking at the map to see who's actually up. Alaska.
Well, that's going to stay red.
Sarah Palin.
Idaho and Utah.
They're staying red.
North and South Dakota.
They'll probably stay red too.
One of them's kind of tilted once in a while. Iowa, Grassley, who's ancient, and Michigan.
Michigan could go.
Nebraska.
Michigan could go.
Michigan could go in a New York minute.
Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana.
Louisiana, maybe.
Maybe.
Mississippi,
No.
Marco Rubio,
Yep.
Tim Scott, South Carolina.
South Carolina could go.
I think so.
Carolina.
I
Yeah.
think that people are pissed off enough that he would be gone.
Yep.
Yeah. North Carolina.
Definitely. Not Master Grant.
Yeah, definitely.
Then we got
I'm not saying they'll win, but it's definitely in
Yeah.
play.
No,
Well,
yeah, they're in play.
Pennsylvania will be wide open because there is no incumbent.
Right.
So-
Rand Paul, Kentucky.
I don't know. See, I don't think Rand Paul is exactly loved.
Portman, Ohio.
Ohio could be in play.
Indiana.
Very possible. Not likely, but possible. So you got at least 4 seats that are definitely in play.
Actually, Warnock is back and would be in 22 also.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. I have to run.
I guess
Thank
we're done
you.
anyhow, Master.
Yeah, we're about done anyhow. So you're just
Okay.
beating the traffic. That's all.
It's traffic. it's the 8th inning. No, 7th inning. We gotta go. Gotta
We
beat the
gotta get out of
traffic. Gotta beat the traffic. Starting in the 3rd period. I gotta go.
Gotta go. Gotta get out of here. Start looking for the exits right away. Right. It's the 3rd inning. You understand? That's me. I do that shit. I really do. Okay, Master Grant. We'll if you're not busy, jump on again tomorrow.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I think I'll be good. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Lou, it's a good way to end the show.
Stick a fork in it.
Yeah, I think we should. Good show today. Everybody, thank you very much. Oh, before we stop, Lou, is there anything you want to say before we go? Nope. See ya.
That's it.
Get the hell out.
12 days and a wake up now.
12 days. Man, I tell you what. My anxiety level over the next 12 days is going to be rather high.
Yeah, I agree.
It really is. We got to get this guy out of here. We had to get him out yesterday, and it didn't. Every day he's in there. Dude, you realize he's not allowed on Twitch? Or I'm sorry, Twitch. We're on Twitch. He's not allowed on Twitter. He's been banned from Twitter, but this asshole still has the nuclear codes.
And banned from Facebook till the 20th.
Yeah, but he can still go drop bombs on somebody. Right? He can literally he can start a war, but he can't tweet about it.
And he's at Camp David tonight, would you believe? I heard.
That piece of shit. Oh well. I just can't I can't get past the irony. He can't tweet, but he can drop a bomb on somebody.
Yeah.
You know? That's how big social media is, folks. That's all you need to know. Okay, we will be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. God willing. Hopefully Trump doesn't blow everybody up. Until tomorrow, until then, goodbye, good luck, and God bless. We'll see you.